All right, we are live. Okay, so today I wanted to show you guys how we connect all those scenes up, and we built out a lot of the main scenes and a lot of the demo scenes here, and I need to connect everything together and then actually port it out to the different devices. So let me go ahead and just start my music up here, and just so I have some working music. Still trying to figure out the levels in the broadcast software here.
From listening to records, mainly topics.
And also, you notice I'm a little bit yellow today in this key, and that's because I'm using a blue screen instead of a green screen. And the camera itself, I don't know if it's tuned for green, but it doesn't seem to work as well when you're using a blue screen, which is actually the first time I'm using. I usually have a green shirt on, which was my mistake. I probably shouldn't have worn that today, but that's why they give you double-sided green screens, or chroma screens I should call it, because it's a blue screen this time. But it does have issues. If I lay back there, I think it's a focus thing. It's actually working all right now. The only thing I want to fix here is maybe make myself not as yellow. So if I go here, I think if I bring the spill reduction down, yeah, there we go. Okay, so I'm not as yellow now, which is better. That's more the color of my shirt. This kind of brown or gray. Okay, so in front of us here we have just basically the demo layout in the scene itself, and I've set up what I want to do today. I'm going to stream most of it, so when we go build this for the other stuff, you guys can use this for a reference to building out the Android. But what I have here is I have a core setup, and then I have a few different levels that pan out from the core setup, and then we have the series of events in the demo sequence here. So the one thing I'm doing in the demo that's different from the actual release in March is we're not including the geolocation stuff. We're just working on showcasing the levels, the interactions, the different activities and events you can create within them, and then I'm trying to make an adventure-like series of events that happens here. And you can see here's my my rough note. Oh, no, it's being keyed out, but there are some notes there that are the different events. So I'll walk everybody through that, and we can kind of see what it is. Before I do that, I want to make sure that everything's aligned up and everything's coded necessarily or scripted to propagate the right levels. And also we have to add some asynchronous loading in between the different levels, otherwise the memory cap on the device, specifically a phone here, and I meant to bring in my iPad today, but I think I left it at home. But with those devices, there is a cap around 2 gigs, and so you need to make sure that you have a little bit of wiggle room and a little bit extra, so when we add stuff down the road there. So let's go ahead and just play this and see what it sounds like. And I'm also going to just see what the levels are on my phone real quick to make sure the audio is not too distracting for us here. Let's go ahead and just play this and see what. Alright. Alright, so that sounds like it's okay. I have the desktop audio around negative 15 decibels, and my mic is pretty much capped out on the green line. It's a little bit in the yellow. It's probably a little bit loud, but it seems alright. Seems okay. Alright, so what's going on here? Why isn't that playing? Let's try that again. So I think a bunch of stuff got screwed up because I renamed a bunch of these scenes, and by doing so, the scripted async loader doesn't know where to go next. So as you can see, it is propagating the logos like we expect, but in here it's going to crap out. It's going to be like, what do I do next? Which is exactly what's happening here. So I'm just going to walk through this, try to set this all up, and then we can try to get this built out to a device today for everybody. Alright, so in this level, everything is in the preloader. And a lot of times, not all the time, but a lot of times I'm using Playmaker. And so you can usually tell where the series of events are happening when you see this little square right here. And that just makes it a little bit easier to navigate and negotiate all the different the scripts coming together, because we are using different kinds of languages and techniques to actually propagate this stuff. Sometimes I'm just using the default Unity stuff, and other times I'm using Playmaker, and you know, even then sometimes I'm just using C# scripts directly accessed from just hard coded in. But here you can see the series of events here is pretty straightforward. We just propagate a bunch of different components that come up, and you're going to notice that obviously right here, oh, okay, so it's actually not, I take that back. It's not that the words were changed here. What's happening is that these are not enabled for a build, and so it doesn't, when you play, it only is going to access the numeric values that get propagated by these scenes here. So we have to enable all of these, and you'll notice in the build how there's a bunch of other different applications that are using the core itself. So eventually we are going to build out backend. That's essentially what AppLover is going to do for us here. But in the meantime, I just disconnect those and keep them there, so I know they're there. I know which levels, which scenes specifically I can use, and then I can just access them. And the only thing I really have to do is I have to change the build, and I have to change the logo, the name, and then for the Magic Leap stuff, sometimes I do have to do some extra stuff in terms of publishing, but for the most part, it's the same, straightforward. So now that those are enabled, we should be able to go straight to the menu level. So let's see what happens. Okay, so those load the level. Okay. Alright, good. So it loads the async loader here, and you can see it shows you up top what it is, the loading scene. Okay, good. So we actually made it to, I'll just pause this for a second so you can hear. So that much is fine. And so we know we're good up to the 0, 1, 2. Okay, and then after that, I want to, there's a few things in here I've added, and you see there's extra buttons in here that I haven't actually made scenes for, but I think what I'm going to do is actually have these be an external link to the site itself. So for instance, the legal stuff, I will just access the private policy in DigiFX, and then with the credits, until we build in all this stuff we need, I'll just make a database of everything within the site itself, and we can go ahead and just use that for now. And the one thing I have to figure out how to do, I know this is kind of a tricky thing, you have to make sure that it opens within, let me just change that. You want to make sure that it opens within the app itself, not a different application. So I have to look that up real quick. Let me just go ahead and just see this. Alright, so Unity, open website within application, right? Alright, so it looks like I've looked this up in the past, and I just had to... Yeah, so there's certain scripts here in App Web Browser. Alright, so... click it's alright. Let's see what people say about it. Alright, so this person's complaining that you can't authenticate within it, which is fine. This guy said it didn't work, but he still gave it 5 stars. Alright, let's go ahead and just give it a chance. I'm going to sign in off screen real quick. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and just pay for this and just add it to the build. And I'm not going to work on it just yet, but that is something I'm going to do later today. So we'll let that do its thing over here. And please just keyframe frequency or 4 seconds or like current frequencies are not. I'm getting an error. Alright, let's see what's going on here. Shut up, Facebook. I think my open broadcast system updated and it reset a lot of the parameters for the streaming, so let me just double check and make sure that, yeah, so one thing that changed, this should be around 45, that's probably another thing, so I don't know if I can change that now, but that's going to make it a lot smoother. It's going to take up a lot more bit rates, but it won't be as choppy there, so that should fix that. Is there anything else I need to do? Okay, so the output resolution is also messed up. But I think for this, just because it's an internal thing, I don't think it's a huge deal. So let's just go ahead and just move forward with what we're doing here. Okay, so we'll continue playing the level here. And you can see, okay, so in the main level, now the real game will go propagate straight into a map level. But for this one, we're just going to create a demo where you get certain credits that you can use, and eventually you can go ahead and buy more. The audio is so loud in my headphones. Find it. So the way I do that is I just go here, source, maybe not. I think it's on the canvas. Alright, so we have yeah, I'm not sure where to put it here. Usually I try to put all the courses, I usually try to lay everything on the core system. So let's go ahead and do that now just to fix that issue there, so I can level it out. So we'll go into our main screen here, main title screen. And unfortunately, because these are demo ones, I'm going to have to make these prefabs and then save them out to the existing ones. I did copy these all over so I wouldn't mess up what I already had. And please use a keyframe frequency of 4 seconds or less. What the hell does that even mean? Or less. Currently, keyframes are not being sent often enough, which will cause buffering. The current keyframe frequency is 8.3. Note the ingest error can cause incorrect groups of picture sizes. Alright, well, I thought I fixed that. You're not seeing what I'm seeing, but essentially, it's giving me that error right there. Okay, so we are on the right Wi-Fi. Sometimes when you get on the public WeWork Wi-Fi, it's super slow. And I do have my own internal Wi-Fi within the server room here. I have a couple. Okay, so this is a little bit of it. So this is going to be, I opened up the wrong scene. This is the title credit scene that when you complete the demo, it's going to go here and then we're going to roll credits and it's going to basically loop back. So we actually want the mini demo is what I meant to open up here. And you can see the numbering system here. All of these are differently. I keep all the kind of menu pre-demo levels all 0 presets, and then I create numeric values for all the levels in order ABC, and that just helps me organize them and keep track of everything, because it can be overwhelming when you have all these levels, especially when you have duplicates everywhere. We'll do a little tidying up here. So let's go ahead and find that audio source. I know it definitely stands out because it's the only thing that's bright yellow. There it is. So it's on the demo menu. So the first thing I want to do, of course, is make sure I drag that to the Oasis core instead. And usually you can just drag it, but sometimes you have to copy and paste it here. So paste as new, and then I can just go in here and I can remove that. And that gives me a little bit more freedom to just jump in on the parent of the highest level, and then if it's too loud for me, I can just crank it down here. The challenge with streaming it versus in the game is that it may sound different within devices, because obviously my headphones are going to be a lot more loud, you know. All right. Let me try this. Alright, so